Hello and welcome to today's talk time. We're going to be talking about the Milton Model. This is really exciting stuff because it's very much the kind of hypnotherapy style that I utilize. Let's get into it. In this talk time series, we're talking all about words that change minds. And Milton Erickson, he is a very important figure in the hypnotherapy world. So let's get stuck in. What happened many years ago is there were two people who were very curious about why Milton Erickson was so effective. And this was Richard Bandler and John Grindler. And that inspired them to really observe what was going on in the sessions that Milton Erickson was conducting, because he was getting incredible results. Now, through that collection of information, there are some language patterns that they observed that Milton was naturally utilizing. And we're going to explore some of those things today, like artfully vague language patterns, bypassing the subconscious resistance, and encouraging the client to fill in the gaps, leading clients into trance naturally through conversation. I would like to start, first of all, by saying the client has the answer. I hammer this home to my students because this is where I think I'm most aligned to Ericksonian ways about sort of the client really has the answer. And if you're using sensory acuity, you're really observing and listening, you're going to be able to utilize that client's world better and become a better storyteller that's going to hit the mark for that client to promote positive change. The client's the one that creates the change. And this is really important, that the therapist is not the one leading. It's really the client is leading. You're utilizing what the client's bringing to that session. This is really huge. So when we're looking at the vagueness, often invites the subconscious to create the meaning of it. So let's look at a vague statement. So there's a part of you that knows, doesn't it? Now, what we might want to ask is, knows what? And then we've got a tag question, doesn't it? Now, the client is going, yes, I know. Now, we don't know what they know, but it's like a mind read. There are some very interesting things that would happen within the session, which was very vague language, but it was very magical on the inside because it allowed the client to ego strengthen, to really understand that the client has the answer, right? So it might be another language pattern like, and as you start to work things out, as you have done many times before, it's incredible how quickly those things can be resolved. Right, so you're assuming that things can be resolved. You're assuming what things they are. We don't really know what the things are. So it's very vague again, but it lands. There's something very magical about using this kind of language with people. So clients are less likely to resist their own interpretations. This is really important. Sometimes we get a block about change. So our clients are coming in because they're struggling. Something is happening that they want to change, but they don't know how to go about it. Now, as a therapist, you're there to help pace the client through this journey of understanding. And you're relying on the subconscious to have the answers. And so the subconscious often works in metaphor, and that means stories. You have your own story of belief. So that client has also their story of belief. Now, your story of belief and theirs is quite different. If we use rhythm in our voice and pacing and tone to encourage the trance, it could sound like, now it's interesting how when you start to blink, that sometimes we blink to that point where our eyes start to get heavy. And when our eyes get heavy, isn't it interesting how you can just let those eyes close, either now or later, whatever feels right for you. So we're having some, I guess, tricks going on here. We're not saying that they won't close their eyes, but we're giving them a sense that they have choice to close their eyes. So these are the sort of patterns that I think quite intrigued the NLP world. And a lot of people try to use these things, but it doesn't feel natural for them. I must say, I, for some reason, have cottoned on to a lot of the language patterns that I was taught, and I use them all the time with my clients, and I find them fun. I know that many students find this really tricky. So when we're looking at rhythm and pacing and tone, encouraging that trance, when we start to slow down, when we start to use sensory acuity, so we're using some level of sense in that person's body. So just as I notice you starting to relax your breath, you might find that you start to relax the way you see things in such a wonderful way that things start to look more clear. Those wonderful things where clarity just leads the way forward in that wonderful way that it does. This is really the kind of language we're talking about. Now, lots of therapists just don't feel comfortable talking to a client like that. It's not for everyone. And it doesn't matter if you don't utilize all of these language patterns. That's fine. However, it is a great tool to have in your toolkit, because I am a great believer in an eclectic range of therapeutic aids to help my clients to make the changes that they seek. So if I need to use this kind of language that helps them join their own dots, I'll use it. If they need more direct suggestion, I'll use that too. In fact, I use a bit of both, indirect, direct. So this is where permissive language can be very, very interesting. We want to build rapport. Now, that is trust between you and that client. This is a really important part of a session. If we don't have trust, the client is going to become resistant to change, even if it might be the best idea in the whole world. They are going to put the brakes on because they don't feel safe. So feeling safe and creating a safe space for that client to really feel heard, I do believe, is one of the biggest parts of it. Now, mind reads. So you may be wondering, now I don't know whether they're wondering or not, but we're planting something, we're assuming that they might be wondering about something, but you don't even need to know what it is or say what it is. This is a wonderful thing that can be used in an inquiry session. Some people might use it naturally. How many clients have come to me and said something like, yeah, you know, my husband gets home and, you know, it's like that, isn't it? And I'm like, he gets home and he does what? And what is it like? So I will often say, can I just ask you, when he gets home, what happens? And what is it like for you? So I might actually want to know a little bit more of the detail. However, you can respond like, yes, it is interesting, isn't it? I know what you mean. Now, I have no idea what they mean, but they'll feel like I do because they're talking to me as if I do know. Now, cause and effect. Because you are here today, there is this wonderful part of you that knows that it's ready for wonderful things. What wonderful things? Who knows? Again, we are using this because they've started something else will happen. There's a cause and effect. It could be a cause and effect because you know how to be happy, it allows you to find joy in the day, doesn't it? So again, we're adding in a tag question at the end, which is a wonderful way of getting a person to go into agreement. Complex equivalence. So coming here means you're ready for change. So we're allowing things to click together and allowing that to make sense for the client. Presuppositions. So when you begin to feel calmer, so you're presupposing that they're going to feel calmer. These are very magical things to invite a client to think about. Universal quantifiers. Everyone can learn this. Now, they're over-exaggerated statements of belief. Everyone, all the time, everywhere, always, never. So they're big, big statements of belief. It's good to challenge them sometimes, but if we want to take someone into trance, we can use them in lovely ways of ego strengthening. So, every time now you go into that situation, you know what to do because you've already pre-thought it out. And because you've prepared, your subconscious, that part of you that knows how to run all the programs, has now had clear instruction. And of course, the clearest instruction wins, doesn't it? So we can move into that wonderful language pattern. Nominalizations. These interesting linguistic words. So you can enjoy that deep relaxation. So it's a very interesting way that we're playing with language to make it into something that normally it doesn't exist. So you can enjoy that deep relaxation. When we're thinking about relaxation, how might we enjoy it? How might we enjoy it? So it's very vague again. That client is going into that idea of how might I enjoy that relaxation? Pacing and leading. You're sitting here listening. And as you listen, things start to make sense on that deepest level. Okay? So embedded commands, you relax deeply now. Metaphors and anecdotes change through story. So when we're looking at these language patterns, I do go into them a bit deeper in my sessions with my students with the diploma course. So I'm just kind of zipping through them for now. But when we're looking at some examples in practice, so some people might notice as they take a deep breath, a calm feeling growing inside. Now we can break this down. We're pacing as they go and take that deep breath. We're doing a mind read. Okay, so a calm feeling begins to grow inside. How do we know a calm feeling is growing anywhere? It's like a mind read. There's a presupposition in there. It's nice to know that you can carry it with you, right? Embedded command, you can carry it with you. So that is a command. You can carry this with you. What are they carrying? Deep calm. Okay, so these are wonderful ways of playing with language within that therapeutic relationship. When to use the Milton Model? So building rapport in that early part of the session, but to be fair, I use it all the way through in my sessions. With analytical and skeptical resistant clients, it can be really good to bypass that logical level. And when encountering self-discovery, it's the ultimate reframe. When we tell a story that's positive, we spin it in another direction. It's rather nice for a person to contemplate that new reflection, that new way of seeing something, or an alternate way of seeing something. We are encouraging self-discovery. So we're not telling the person how they're going to fix it. We're assuming they know, and we're using language that draws that out into their imagination. So they start to envision themselves knowing something that otherwise they didn't realize they knew. And it's also to deepen trance without formal induction. So you don't need to do the relaxation spiel, but It is very daydreamy as you talk to people in that kind of way with them. They start to go somewhere in their mind. They start to imagine things even in conversation. So there is some practice that you could do if you'd like, and that's choosing 3 Milton Model patterns and using them in a short conversational induction, recording and reviewing how that went. So using a smartphone or something, and just listen to yourself. Sit down, just kind of experience yourself with that induction and notice the rhythm, the flow, and the client response. So these are things that you can actively do if you're out there practicing with clients at the moment. But if you want to learn how to do all of this, please visit the website nzach.ac.nz, and you can find out more about our diploma course there. So final thoughts. The Milton Model is very versatile and creative. It really does enable people to utilize the client's world, their language, their idea of what they want to achieve. And it's drawing that out. It's helping that person have space to explore the possibilities. It's about ego strengthening. It's helping that client believe too that they have the answer, and helping them find that answer by holding space in a really intelligent way, by asking fantastic questions, but also playing with language where the client starts to see opportunities to join the dots. Now, it blends beautifully with indirect suggestion. Okay. Now, if you missed the indirect suggestion talk time, have a look for it. We did that the other week. That might help you to join a few more dots today. So really, it invites the subconscious mind to participate in its own change. This is the main thing. And I do believe a positive therapeutic relationship is all about empowering that client, using that client's own understanding and wisdom, and sometimes mirroring it back to them, using the kind of stories that's going to make sense to them. So if I had a client who was into sailing, I might use a story around sailing because they're going to really identify with that. And I might utilize ego strengthening around that. Just like when you're out in the high seas and you feel the crisp wind upon your face, you feel totally alive. And so there's a part of you that knows how to feel alive, isn't there? And you could transfer that feeling of aliveness into other things if you choose to, can't you? That's right. So we can begin to be the ultimate storyteller there. I hope you've enjoyed this journey today. Next episode, we're going to be talking about metaphors that heal, creating therapeutic stories, exploring how to design stories that create change from the inside out. If you'd like more information on becoming a student, please get in contact. If you've got any questions about today's journey, you can maybe write something in the comments below or get in touch with me personally. I really love journeying people through learning all sorts of things to do with hypnotherapy and how to be a powerful hypnotherapist, and to help support all sorts of different types of people with therapeutic change, to hold space safely, mindfully. So tune in next week, and thank you for listening. Ka kite.